Welcome, guys, to Night Kids After Dark Podcast, episode 17, July 5th, 2022. Uh, we've been gone for a while. Everybody's here. We have a special guest today and a special episode. This episode is we're gonna talk about Pride Month, the There's a lot of a lot
Yeah.
of letters. LGBTIA plus community.
yes.
I missed a
You
letter.
forgot a Q in there.
Q and I. But no, we're
Canceled right now.
it happens, but you gotta put it out there, man. You gotta put it out there if you want to learn about it. So we brought on a special guest, somebody who's part of the community, and not just that community, but they're also part of the Night Kids community. One of our community streamers. Welcome, Heteroverload. How are you doing?
What's going on? Hello, hi, what's up?
And I'm your host, BTG Plays, along with Yanonick,
What's happening?
Professor Daxter,
Hey guys.
and Rainbowkisses.
Hey,
How y'all been?
guys.
Pretty good.
Fantastic. Minus yesterday's events in the morning, unfortunately. Was it in the morning?
Oh, morning and evening. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, there was another one in the evening. Yeah,
Another
What
one?
are we talking
in
about?
in Philadelphia. Yeah,
I did not know that.
the shooting in Chicago, and then there was
Yeah.
one in Philadelphia during the fireworks.
Yeah, it's pretty terrible.
Yep.
Some dude went up on a building and is shooting people with rifles. I think 7 people are dead, 30 injured.
3,600. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, we're low on the stream, by the way. BT
the audio's pretty high.
says audio output's a little low, and she has it maxed.
Yo, what's happening to
It was output as a whole. But
Yeah.
it's all on the yellow now for everybody.
But yeah, that's where it should be. Is yellow.
Yeah, that's where
Yeah.
it was already at.
Oh, I don't know.
Any better, Duo, before we get started?
But yeah, it was real crappy.
It's just
How
the
was it?
audio quality or the volume?
It's an output.
I
I
can't
don't
hear it.
know.
So, well, man.
It's better.
don't
Okay,
know.
cool.
Okay, cool.
That's cool.
All right, so we missed it's been what, a couple weeks. I went on vacation, went to South
2 weeks.
Carolina with the family. Oh yeah, we missed 2 weeks. Went to South Carolina with the family, had a good time. Yanonick's computer blew up.
This
things
feels
happen.
so bad, but it literally was just like, oh yeah, by the way, I can't do it anymore.
Just fully gave up the ghost.
And then he posted a photo of his food and his bed with his thing on it, and he had his food near it. And I'm like, you can't do that. Like, you can't.
You can't have food near your computer?
Heck no.
Not while it's
Ooh, it
open.
caused it to explode.
Yep,
Let me
so
move my plate of food real quick.
So for this episode we're pretty much we got six news stories, slight topics. We're gonna go over them, get everybody's point of views like we usually do, and then we're gonna go into a Q&A for Hetero Overload, questions from us to him to see, so we can get a better understanding about the community and how they feel about things going on in the world, and get to know Hetero Overload a little better.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
So, first news topic. Which one do I want to do? So, Anime Expo was this weekend. Did anybody see that cluster that happened at Anime Expo?
No,
Is that
I
a
didn't.
convention like
I
E3
did not.
where they? Is that somewhere like they introduce like new animes, like an E3 kind of situation, or is it more of just like a convention?
So, Anime Expo is like Comic Con for the anime world.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That explains it.
it's held in LA. Lots of cosplay. They announce, new animes, and they have all types of panels and stuff. I just know it was a cluster. Like, it was so many people there. Like, they had to shut people out of coming. Like, it was
Wow.
crazy.
Did you guys see that picture where they were like all squished in?
No, I haven't.
They
Yeah.
were squished in Anime Expo?
I mean, it looks like this one big room. I don't know if it's like the entrance because I'm not sure like how that place is set up. But it literally looked like no one could move in that area from the picture that I saw. And I was just like, no, no.
No.
One of the
I mean,
cosplayers that I follow was supposed to go, and she's like, after she saw that, she's like, "Yeah, I'm not going, you guys. I'd have a panic attack just trying to navigate through that because of how many people there were, and like how people were literally basically, if you turn, you're gonna have somebody on your back, on your front, on your side. Like it's just massive amounts of people.
Yeah, that
Actually,
sounds terrible.
I actually got I actually had a conversation about this the other day. The older I get, the more claustrophobic I become.
Yeah.
Is that the same for everybody else, or is it just me?
Oh,
I
yeah.
feel- Yeah, I guess it's. I think I'm more in tune to like, all right, this could be really bad. Like if something bad happens right now, this could be terrible. I think I
Oh,
have
yeah.
Not
more-
even that. Like I'm just like if I don't know. I hate touching people. I just have a weird like sensation of like physically touching people, and so I'm just like,
I definitely understand that,
Yeah.
Dex. If
Yeah.
I
Like,
go
even-
somewhere and it's gonna be somebody rubbing their nasty, sweaty arms across my arm, I will leave so
why are
fast.
they doing this?
I will
Well,
leave
like-
so fast.
Pride festivals are not going to be fun for you.
like I used to go to the club all the time, and like I was always so aware of like not touching, women by accident, even if it was by accident or whatever. I'm just like, and then I'll like crawl by them. You know what I mean? Because I didn't
Did
want
you
to be
have
that
that
dude.
face while you're crawling by them?
No, mine was
That would be more scary. You just turn around like, oh God. Sir, what are you doing?
I think that came from COVID for me. Like COVID just made me realize how dirty people really are, and I'm like, don't touch me.
You
Please
didn't
don't."
notice that before?
Before.
I mean,
it was
people want
touching somebody wouldn't give me a virus that could kill me. So it was like, now I'm like, all right.
No, people are just mad nasty. I've watched people go in the bathroom, not wash their hands, cough into their hands, and then shake somebody else's hands. I'm like, you dirty mother.
Oh no.
I thought you said
Nasty
cough in your
trying-
hand and shit in it. I don't know why.
I mean, some don't wash their hands when they leave the bathroom. So there's that too, Dax. There's that too.
I mean,
Nah.
technically, they did poop in their hand if they wiped and didn't wash themselves.
They
I'm
used
gonna
to
say-
do those.
Nasty.
Some of the big reveals, I guess the biggest reveals announced at Anime Expo this year were these animes, which is Bleach, 1,000 Year Blood War. Any Bleach fans?
Long time ago.
Tried.
haven't watched since season
I
1.
talked about it. I got to the mansion part of the show, like season 2 or whatever it was, and it drew me up a wall how bad it was. It just made no sense to the story. And then I forgot that like fillers existed. I could have just skipped it, but
Yeah, it gets good at the end, and then yeah. I mean, I'm kind of excited for it. I kind of want to see it. We'll see. It looks like it's gonna be like a major, like a Civil War type thing. But and then Trigun Stampede. I know Lily's super excited about this.
Man, I'm looking forward to that.
those are
You said
actually
what?
getting commercials too.
You said are they getting commercials?
Yeah, Trigun's even getting commercials. Like I've seen
What?
commercials, like on YouTube and stuff like that. I don't know about TV, but like, yeah.
I'm surprised
next
these kids even know who Vash the Stampede is.
They don't.
I don't either.
How
This
excited
is
for it.
before their time.
Before this.
That's why it's being redone. It's old to us, new to them.
Mhm.
And then panty and stocking with garter belt. Never heard of it, but apparently it's one of the biggest
Sounds
announcements at
spicy.
Anime
Heard
Expo.
of that one. I heard it's
Sounds
actually pretty
spicy.
good.
Have you?
Yeah.
Never mind. It looks awful. I can't. Nope.
What? It looks
I'm
awful.
good.
You haven't even seen it yet.
I've seen the art. I don't need to see more.
It looks
good.
great.
You can tell just from that.
Yeah. I can tell it's not for me. I can tell you it's not for me.
Like I've heard a ton of good things about it. I just never actually sat down and watched it.
You know who you know what the actual image reminds me of, like for real. I think it was on Nickelodeon, the robot. You know what I'm talking about? She was like
The
a female
Pixie.
robot. Huh?
What is it
Oh,
called? My Life as a Teenage Robot.
Yeah, that's what it reminds me of. That's what it looks like.
you didn't like that?
No, I like that show. That show was pretty good. When I was
It looks
growing
like
up.
Powerpuff Girls to me.
Yo,
Is that
bring
what
back
it's
called?
Powerpuff Girls. I'm here for it.
There
They
was
also-
the musical artist that did the original Teen Titans song. They had another cartoon that art reminds me of that.
That's the who was it? The Hirajuku dolls. Who did
Something
that?
like that. It was they did it was another smaller one, and it was two girls who were a band, and
Yeah.
I cannot remember the name of
You know,
it.
I think it was the Harajuku dolls because I remember seeing them in Pennsylvania in concert live.
Yeah,
Nice.
They're popular in Japan, but definitely did not have the same effect here.
Yeah, it was like a
No.
little
I mean,
hole
that
in
makes
the
sense,
wall,
though, right?
but it was
That makes
cool.
sense, though.
Mob Psycho 100 season 3,
Yeah.
of course.
I mean, that
That's gonna be exciting.
I haven't seen it.
seen-
Heard of it.
I haven't seen season 2.
Have you seen anybody seen Solo Leveling?
No, but I
me
saw
watch this.
an ad for it, and it looked like it's gonna be good.
What do you guys look for in an anime? I guess.
I guess
go
the
ahead.
fight scene. I like fight scenes or interaction between characters. You know. all
So
the-
do you go for like the over the top, super badass like thing, or is it more storytelling for you? Because for me, it's
I can't
storytelling.
tell until I at least watch the first episode. I watched one episode and I can tell whether or not I'm in or I'm out.
Yo, what's up, rookie?
It usually I give like every anime a chance. Like if I have time, I give it like 5 to 10 episodes, and then if I'm like not like at the point where like I need to see the next episode, then I kind of like put it in the back burner.
I have to be in a mood for anime. Like anime is one of those. Like I watch YouTube, like other people play games and like do like let's plays and stuff like that. That's my form of entertainment. And then after that is like Marvel, and then below that is like anime. So that's usually like my tier list of like what I want to watch. And so I had to really be in a mood for anime. And so it's really hard for me to try new animes because I might love it. Like I really liked not Hunter x Hunter, but Demon Souls. But I watched like 8 episodes in a row one day, and then I didn't watch the rest of it for like a month and a half or something like that. You know what I mean? So
Now I gotta watch Demon Souls because I haven't seen that one.
Oh, that's
Demon
really
Slayer.
good.
Sorry,
Demon Slayer is really good.
did I say Demon
Uh,
Souls? Whatever.
Demon Souls. I was like, wait.
The game turned
It's
into
like, I like
an
a-
anime.
I like a bunch of weird comedy. Like it was surprising that One Punch Man was like right up my alley. I watched that repeatedly. Man, I love the strange comedies that have, action included, sometimes
Over
horror
the top.
included. But if it's just weird and funny, I love it.
Yeah,
All I-
like
All
Go
I
ahead,
know is
sorry.
Solo Leveling looks like it has some video game stuff in it and swords, so I think I'm in.
It
yeah, I
looks
think that's pretty solid. I think. Too,
Yeah.
so, yeah, I agree. Yeah, for me, it's like I love high school animes, if that makes sense. Like, I've always liked the new kid at the high school. He gets like this random power and then just beats the crap out of everybody. I like the Shippuden, or not the Shippuden, but like the top generic 3, like One Piece, Bleach, Naruto, and all that. I watched like 15 episodes the other day on Naruto to catch back up. Whew, so good.
And then I guess
Boruto?
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stone Ocean is coming out. JoJo's Bizarre. is
I heard
very
it's so good.
It is
I heard
very
it-
good.
I heard you had to be in a weird mind state to like watch it though.
I
Hey.
definitely slept on JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and I finally watched it, and it is so good. It's worth watching.
No,
honestly.
it's ridiculous. Stop
It
lying.
No,
is.
it's not.
ridiculous.
It's so good.
It's over the top and ridiculous.
Disconnect her.
And it's
Isn't that anime?
perfect for it. It's perfect for it.
It's just so dramatic.
The one thing I know about JoJo is it splits the community like half and half every
Oh, it's
time.
completely, and it's
Yeah.
extremely polarizing. Like
It's
it's
4 to
either yes
4
or
to 1.
no.
4-1. So
It's like JoJo seems like a really okay show. You shut up! It's the best show on this planet.
There is no in between.
and then there's a new Chainsaw Man. I've never seen this, but it looks pretty gruesome.
I've never.
Yeah, I love High School DxD. By the way, that was such a good anime.
I enjoyed it as well.
How do you
Not-
guys feel about cell shaded anime?
Oh,
I don't like cell shaded games, but I do like cell shaded like comic style animes. I don't know if it like fits for every genre, but I do love a good cell shade if it's done right.
cell shade anime. It's hard for me to watch. Like, what was the newest? Dang, what anime just came out that was cell shaded? Or like the 3D animes. Like they can't have too much 3D. When they
That's
have too
fair.
much 3D, it bothers me.
Do you feel like it's lazy or
No,
just a cheap way to?
I don't feel like it's that. I just feel like it's a different art form towards anime, and I just don't like it. Like that's just my personal thing.
Like this looks super interesting. I think
The
I
dude
will
has
be
a
checking.
chainsaw for a face, so
Ridiculous.
I don't care about any of that part. I liked everything else around it though. Like another really good one was what was that anime? My high school teachers are like a murderer or whatever, and it has a
Oh, I
dude
thought you were
with
gonna
a
say.
smiley face head.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
What's the name of that one? It's not Halloween, right?
No. It's like my high school teacher. Hold on.
No, it wasn't the new Ghost in the Shell, Lily. It was another thing. Oh, you know what? It was the new Blade Runner anime. I think it was
They have
based.
Blade Runner anime?
Yeah, it was based off Blade Runner, but it's like 3D. It's a 3D like CG and story sounds cool, but I just can't watch it.
It's gonna bug me. Hold on.
I don't remember the name.
Assassination Classroom.
Oh, that was really good too.
It was such a good anime, but it's like bizarre. it's very strange. Yeah.
What's a non-bizarre anime?
Naruto.
Yo,
No, I'm just
what?
kidding. I'm just kidding.
Non-bizarre anime.
Food Wars. Another fantastic anime.
Nah, that one a little bizarre too.
Nah,
It is
just because they moan when they eat, I do that too.
Whole
the time.
clothes
weird.
be popping off when they eat. One
guy.
bite and the clothes just
This guy.
magically
Heck yeah.
disappear.
You never had like a bowl of pho or ramen that was so good that you just took your shirt off.
Because you need
Everything
more
goes.
room for your food.
Y'all
You gotta make more room.
just out here getting naked when you eat.
All in public.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
as
you
you
know
know,
that-
That's
taught me
good. There's like
anything.
5 naked people in there.
If my dad taught me anything, is to loosen your belt whenever you're hungry, because it's like you getting a little bit more food in there. You know what I mean?
exactly. I eat my ramen, take my shirt off, and then I take a selfie with my new Naruto phone,
Mhm.
which is our next news topic.
Believe
So-
it.
Apparently, there is a GT Neo Naruto edition phone. I never heard of GT Neo,
Same. That's fire. I love it.
but it is fire.
It
This
is
is
fire.
If it was a case, I'd get it.
Mhm.
This is
Same.
not your regular phone box, that's for sure. Realme made sure to adhere to the Naruto theme by packaging the GT Neo 3 in a scroll. Oh, there's a case. Oh, that's a case, but I don't think it's a Naruto case. This falls right in the line with the partnerships as Scroll plays a vital part for the character. There's a scroll. Oh, I'm sold.
Wait, you didn't see the
Bro, I did not even
there's a video where this guy is literally unboxing it, and as soon as I saw the scroll, and I was like, "This is just gonna be amazing."
I gotta go find the video.
I will never use a phone, but I do want it.
You want the phone or the scroll?
Yes.
I mean, you get both. You get both. The
Mhm.
phone is inside of the scroll.
Let me find this video.
and you best believe I'm strapping that to my back, scroll and all.
What is it called? The GT.
Get my
Neo 3?
robe and just like let me get my phone and just whip my cape. You know what I mean?
The GTNR Naruto phone case.
Oh,
That's not it.
Not gonna lie, I might purchase it just because it looks really dope.
Move.
Just like
It's expensive.
how much
It's like
was
that
it?
TV.
The same price as a console.
So,
What,
600?
400?
Mm-hmm.
That's actually not that bad
Go, go,
considering
go.
most phones are like. I paid $1,200 for mine, so.
Open the
Yeah.
box. Open the box.
Just open the box.
He's doing so dainty.
Oh, that's
Clean.
pretty.
Wow.
You're ahead of us. All I see is him ripping open a box, and you're like, "That's pretty."
Pretty awesome.
Oh wow.
Yo, that's fire.
Yeah, it looks super clean.
Yo, why you gonna break it though? Holy.
What
I
is
love
it,
the
though?
colors.
Yeah.
Like,
Super
what
cool.
is this? It's just a scroll for you to have. Does it do anything?
You're
Oh.
ahead of us, so hopefully we
Oh.
get to see. What?
What's
is
in
it?
the box?
Oh.
It's a glasses case. Oh. Oh, the phone goes in there.
Okay, hear me out. Same thing, right? But I just want, instead of all that, just turn that into a speaker.
Right, that would be tight. And you just wear it on your.
Heck
Oh,
yeah. And you know I'm running like this too. Like,
Just
Everywhere
going
you
for a
go.
jog.
what are you doing? Don't worry
I'm
about it.
super disappointed at this guy's unboxing.
Yeah.
The
What
other
would you
guy I
have loved-
watched literally opened the scroll like how you would open a dang scroll. This
Wait,
guy took the dang side off.
You can open the
Oh.
scroll?
I don't
Yes.
think it opens
Oh,
up like a
no.
normal scroll.
It
Looking
does.
at how it's made, it doesn't look like it opens up.
It
If
would
that
sell way more because that ain't gonna like compete with like Samsung or iPhone. I don't think. Maybe. I like the
I-
collars. It's very poppy.
Yeah, I don't think it's meant to compete.
Yeah, I
Don't
definitely do
care
the
to-
Naruto red.
Ooh.
Don't care. I need it.
I'm gonna need them to make a Kakashi one because yeah, that's what I need in my life.
I mean, it still looks nice though, considering. Wow. How
You know
much
who
do you?
my favorite character's always been Naruto's dad in the series. I loved the fire.
Oshimaru for me. It's because he has a long tongue. That's
Yeah.
that's Oshimaru. For me.
Wait,
You guys
what?
just
What?
relate so
Wait,
much. Huh?
what?
What?
It's my favorite. Nah, Naruto's dad has always been my favorite.
That's the one for me.
Yeah. Yo, Lily from AT&T. What's up, girl?
Lily from AT&T.
This is what's in the box. Man, I don't know how much that cost, but that scroll was not as in. I thought it was more to it than just holding the phone in there.
I did too. I just want the Ninja Scroll. Just if somebody buys the phone and sells that to me, I'm cool with it.
They probably will for
Yeah, you can probably go on
$2,000.
AT&T. I was gonna say you can probably go online
You
right
are
now and get it.
probably right. And you could probably just make it into a speaker yourself.
Oh, you're right.
You
Yeah.
expect me to have all that technology? I don't know how to do all that.
Well, if
There's
the
a
Go-
bunch of how-to videos.
I'm not Static Shock's like sidekick. I don't know how to make mechanical stuff. So
if the Ghostbusters can do it, so can you.
true.
I want this game so bad. Lily showed it to me today, and I was just like, I want this game.
So yeah,
What a
there's a new
segue.
there's a
What a
new
segue.
there's a new Ghostbusters game coming out. Spirits Unleashed. I'm gonna play the trailer because this game does look so dope.
Is it like paranormal or is it like
Yeah, we saved the world.
what's that game called?
Is it
Duo
a-
plays it all the time.
Asmo?
What is
Yeah, that's what
I'm saying.
Phasmophobia.
A goofy Phasmo?
Is it like a Phasmo but with like Ghostbusters?
Is it playing?
I want to think
You
more
see it?
Walking Dead, but I'm not Walking Dead. Left 4 Dead.
Oh, okay.
So it has that. So you play as a team to defeat ghosts, but you can also have players can also play as the ghosts. So yeah, it is more like Left 4 Dead.
Huh.
I like that you can play as a ghost.
Nice.
Yeah. I'd play this. This would be a good community game for sure.
Oh yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
Plus, it's the Ghostbusters.
I know you're still a Ghostbuster.
Never
Yeah,
played it.
Ghostbusters.
No,
The music's cool. The characters, the time period's cool.
the DMCA's are gonna rock.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see the new Ghostbusters movie, Afterlife?
No, I haven't. It was
the
a good.
one with the female cast.
No, not that.
There was another one that takes place. I don't know. It's like 20 years after all that. It's like a direct.
Oh.
Yeah, that one's actually really good, and they're actually making
The one
Afterlife
with-
too.
It's the one with the kids, right? And then
Yeah.
they like, okay, yeah. It looked pretty good.
That one is actually pretty good.
This
I
looks
enjoyed
chaotic.
It looks fun. So
You know what I
getting it.
want? I'll get it.
Already
I'll definitely
pre-
Does it have a release date?
Yeah.
You know what I want? I want like a Phasmo game where it's more like a ghost adventure game. You know, does that make sense?
Elaborate?
Like a really in-depth ghost adventure. But like
Can't say I've been on a ghost adventure. Could you share what that experience is like?
no, Ghost Adventure is like the show.
That's what he does when he's not streaming. He's hunting ghosts.
Yeah. Me being
Just
easily
love to
scared,
go
that's
fight ghosts.
exactly what I do. I punch ghosts. That's why I've been going to the gym.
Yeah.
No, but like it would be really cool if they had like Phasmophobia, like the whole like take a group of 4 people in, but like they were like really lore driven, not so much just like, hey, this person's name is Clarence and she doesn't like being around multiple people. You know what I mean? It'd be really cool if they had it to where it was you go in, it has a history in that location, and it's based off of like real events. It could even be based off of real events.
So
you know
like,
what I mean? That'd be
like a
cool.
multiplayer Van Helsing.
Sure, yeah. I haven't played that game in forever, so
Not the
So
game,
the
just like
challenge-
Yeah.
kind of the stories.
The challenge with the game you're sharing with us, Professor, it sounds like you would have to have a lot of story writers go out, gather these actual events, or make up these events. You could say it's like truth or whatever, but essentially you would have to have someone write out these events. And it makes me wonder: would the replay value of it be outshadowed by the fact that I've already done this mission, or I've already done this one, or
I think that
Well,
would be the
people like-
hardest part, but like I feel like there's enough ghost stories out there that you could continuously put out content.
It's true.
But it would be really cool instead of, in my opinion at least, it would be really cool to like go in and be like, this person had this incident, there was these many deaths in this house, and and it would actually create a more immersive than just like run through the door saying, hey, here's my Twitch plug, and then run away. You know what I mean? Because that's what I do with Phasmo.
Either way, I'm not playing it. That game, yeah, Phasmophobia, man. I streamed that a few times and can't do it anymore, man. It's terrifying. It's
I was good.
terrifying.
Duo is a bad person. Duo is like, let's play, and I'm like, all right, let's do it. And then she like locks me in the door, locks me in the house by myself, and then like laughs at me. So
I locked myself in the house by myself. I said, "How do you open this door?" and closed it by myself. And I was like, "Oh my god!"
yeah, I have some funny clips.
It's like I'm too much of a chicken for Phasmo.
I'm trying to tell you,
Absolutely.
man. It's
You're
the
not alone.
sounds, the sounds
not
and
alone.
everything. And then when I was streaming it before, I was streaming out of my basement. Oh my god,
Oh man.
it was the worst.
No.
I did it with lights off, headphones on.
Mm-mm.
See, y'all crazy. You gotta play in the daylight with your blinds up, window open, so your neighbors can save you.
Then it
Look,
was
I
like-
have very demanding pets. I can see me now having a heart attack because one of them touched me while I was playing this game.
what's
Or
even
maybe
worse?
with, like, or maybe
What's
people
even
that
wor-
play in VR.
Oh
and
no,
maybe not.
never, nope.
Oh no! Oh no!
Even worse, I had like what is it, the viewer thing, the rewards. I had one where they could cut off all my lights while I was playing, and
That's
You know what?
sick.
my lights were just off the whole damn time.
Yo, that's sick. I want to have lights that were controlled by like
It was terrible.
Alexa. That'd be
It
cool.
was terrible. Don't ever do it. Terrible.
I'm here for it. How hard is it to set up, by the way?
VR.
It's what, the lights and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh no, I just used Alexa. So every time they did it, I would just be like, Alexa, blackout, and all my lights would cut off.
Hey,
I
come
know.
on.
What I'm saying is like, how hard is it to set that up? The
Oh.
lights automatically being triggered.
Oh, it's not hard at all.
No,
Not
I have
hard at
my
all.
my grow lights connected to Alexa, and all I needed was a couple of plugs.
You said your grow light?
Yes.
Yeah.
Elaborate.
You already know
For my
what the grow
plants, when I
lights
grow
do.
them indoors, my plants,
Yeah,
the
plants.
very
good.
normal plants that I
for
grow
oxygen.
indoors on
She needs
occasion
dandelions.
need
She has
lights.
dandelions.
And I could just say Alexa 12 hours and my plants get lights for 12 hours.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty tight. Yeah, that's pretty much how it works. You'd be like, Alexa, shut off the lights for like 5 minutes, and then she'll do it and cut them back on. It was terrible.
That'll make
Still terrible.
everybody's Alexa devices go off.
Alexa.
I like it.
Hey, come on, man. I'm turning y'all down.
Everybody's devices are about to wake up.
Like, right.
Bro, that's what
And
they're
mute
there
the
for.
phone.
Yeah, everyone has headphones on but me.
Loser. It's like,
Kick him
So-
while he's down.
I
everybody
just
got a
never
Switch?
connected speakers to my computer.
Who doesn't
like
have
a
who doesn't have a Switch here?
Who doesn't have a Switch?
Does not.
I can finally keep my hands down.
Well, apparently everybody has a Switch. So apparently, No Man's Sky Switch. There's a port for No Man's Sky coming to Switch October 7th, which I think is pretty impressive.
I think that game's gonna look like dog. It's gonna look so
Look.
bad.
We'll see. So, Hello Games is bringing massive spacefaring sim No Man's Sky and most of its updates from the past 6 years to Switch on October 7th. The company announced this morning. A physical edition of the complete remastered PlayStation 5 version is also planned for the same day. No Man's Sky on this tiny portable device feels both completely natural and also totally improbable at the same time, said Hello Games director Sean Murray. This has been a real moonshot for our small team. No Man's Sky is built around procedural generation, which means the console generates everything you see. This makes it so much harder to bring our game to something like the Switch, but I think this team never seems happier than when they are trying to do near impossible things. Folks who pick up No Man's Sky on Switch will be able to experience all the content through the game's Prisms update from June 2021. If the rapid montage of logos in today's trailer is anything to go by, Hello Games has released 3 additional updates: Frontier, Sentinel, Outlaw since then. Here's a quick breakdown of the major updates and content of No Man's Sky players on Switch can look forward to. So, it's going to be like, what, 20 frames per second?
10, maybe 5 if on a good day.
I don't know. I'm curious.
Just gonna get a whole new SD card.
Right, a whole.
You might want to get a second Switch because it's gonna overheat.
But to realistically speak on this, I believe, it's not necessarily for, you or I. I believe like my niece and nephew would love this, right? They might not really be able to enjoy the full graphics of it all or understand that, okay, it's dropping frames or it's a little bit glitchy here or whatever. They're just happy to be playing this really interesting game that allows them to explore.
Now, if
So I'm always here
if
for
this
it.
is Switch footage, then I'm impressed.
Yeah.
If that's Switch footage,
Yeah.
there's no way. No.
No way. What?
No way.
Some good-looking
They're
games.
playing that on the PS5 and they're saying it's on the Switch. You're out of your mind if you think that's on
Talk about
the
Willis.
Switch.
I don't know.
This-
The draw distance looks a little pulled.
It's
in, so it
probably
could be.
OLED.
Sure. I just want to say I bought my daughter for her 4th birthday the Pokemon Snap for the Switch, right? And we put it on the big TV on the Roku, 4K, whatever. And I took a photo of a Pokemon, and it looked like jelly beans. It was not good.
That's Jelly Bean Mon.
I was like, oh god.
What in
I think you're right in terms of like allowing people that would never have the chance to play it. It's just one of those games where I just don't think it'll be able to support. Like I never looked at No Man's Sky. I'm like, this would go really well on the Switch.
I would definitely wait a few patches in.
Yeah,
I'm gonna continue to play it on PC. Is where I'm gonna play it.
So my
PC.
thing is, I think Hello Games has learned their lessons from when they first released No Man's Sky, and I doubt that they're gonna make that mistake twice. So if they are releasing this on Switch, I'd bet that it's up to par. Like I
would agree. Yeah.
I don't think they would do
only-
it if it wasn't.
Only because of the fact that like Hello Games is literally on one of the best track records from where they started ever of any company, and it would be really dumb of them to like release a piss poor product.
Yeah, that would be terrible, especially after all they went through to get No Man's Sky back to where it is now.
And I'm impressed with what they did.
Do you think they'll ever make a second game, or do you think they're just going to ride out No Man's Sky?
Absolutely.
You think so?
I think every game has its end, and No Man's Sky is not near its end. However, I am sure they are discussing and ideas of their next game.
I'm here for it. I would like to see what they do. Yeah.
No Man's Sky 2.
Yeah, the reimagining.
That's what everything is now.
Yeah.
But you might not have to reimagine like older games because apparently there's hope for PS3 emulation on the PS5.
I love your transitions.
Hey, they just come to me. But this is off of Kotaku.
It's like those PS3 games that you can get on the PS5 now.
This is from Kotaku by John Walker. A tiny glimpse of hope for PS3 emulation on PS5. A new job ad from PlayStation Studios suggests Sony may be hiring to get PS3 games working. New job ad reported by PlayStation Lifestyle after being spotted on a reset era strongly suggests that Sony might be trying to hire an engineer to get its PS3 emulation sorted. There's also rumor of getting old PS3 peripherals working on the new machine, which would all be such a relief. If you have partaken of Sony's relaunched PlayStation Plus for the PS4 and PS5, you have noticed that when exploring the 400 plus games in its extensive archives, everything on PS3 has to be streamed. And oh man, the streaming sucks. The PS5 has so far been incapable of running PS3 emulations, which makes for a massive bummer when it comes to missing out on that entire generation of games on modern machines. The rebooted PS Plus offers the option to download games from the PS1, PSP, PS2, PS4, and of course PS5. But the PS3, you're stuck with streaming. And at least in my experience, that's a sucky mess of pixels and failure. So there's hope in the form of a new job advertisement for a software development engineer put up by LinkedIn by PlayStation Studios. So I do understand why it's so hard for them to get PS3 games, because the PS3 was a very unique system in the way it was built with its cell processing. It was completely unique to the computer world as far as architecture went, which is one of the big reasons why it hasn't been able to translate into any more recent consoles, because recent consoles have leaned more towards the more normal architecture of PC architecture. So if this does happen, I think it would be great. I loved my PS3. It was definitely one of the best consoles in my lifetime, for sure.
It was one of the first consoles that came out and actually had true online play, and it worked well online too. I remember playing Call of Duty online. I think it was
called Modern Warfare. Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, I'll say the PS3 was probably one of my the PlayStation 3 when I got it was like, this is next gen gaming. it really took games up a notch. I remember like I forget what game it was, but it was like a PlayStation exclusive, and I got it. It was like a shooter or whatever, and I'm like, wow, like I don't know how we can get better than this. This is like the peak of gaming. So I'm down for it.
Dang.
Huh?
I'm trying to think of the game. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Killzone or Resistance?
Yeah, it's one of those.
Resistance.
Resistance
Yep.
was the like World War II alien one.
Yeah. And it was like day one PS3. I loved my PS3. I had that fat, like metallic turtle shell of a PlayStation.
I had the first one too.
But I will say, the PlayStation's had a really hard time with this PS5. Like they've really struggled from like a PR standpoint, from like a development standpoint. Their games are top notch. Like last Breath of the Wild or Horizon and all them are fantastic games and all that. However, like they're struggling to keep up with like the moves that Microsoft and Nintendo even have been making. Go ahead.
I mean, yeah, go ahead.
So my question to you is, how do you feel as though they're struggling in comparison to their competitor, right? So to Microsoft, Nintendo, you feel as though they're struggling, but their numbers are not looking low. They're still in high demand. It's hard to still obtain one.
I think it's the future that I'm excited for. The issue with Sony is they don't have any replayability. All their games are single player, which is fine. I love my single player games. I will always have a PlayStation because of Santa Monica, because of
GT.
What's the Ratchet and Clank developers?
I can't remember it. Oh, Naughty Dog. No, that's not them.
No, it's not Naughty Dog. Even Naughty Dog, that's another one. Like you have all these great developers, and I love their games, and I'll always play them. But after I beat the game, I put it down. There's no replayability on the PlayStation anymore, and it's what causes them to struggle as hard as they do, I think. But I'm the issue is Microsoft's making a lot of big moves. They've been making a lot of big moves since 360 or the Xbox One. The Xbox One failed miserably compared to the PlayStation 4, but all their massive buys and all their massive like deals are finally coming to fruition, and you're starting to see it. I think Sony's struggling, or Sony's scrambling.
I can kind of see that too, because over the past couple of months, it's actually been reported that Xboxes are selling higher than PlayStations are in Japan.
Oh wow!
And it's probably because of availability, but also you're still they have the S, and they're still getting games that they want, so they're able to play next gen without having to wait on the PS5. And
also Microsoft picking up like Sony exclusives for PC, killer for like the replay on Spider-Man coming to PC is going to be huge. It is.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think it's just Sony's just struggling with being consumer friendly. I think that's what their struggle is right now. Everything's games are more expensive now. It's like, God, dog, controllers are more expensive. Like, why am I got to spend more money? Like, come on.
Yeah. And availability is also an issue too. Like, I think that like even if there was like plenty of PlayStation or PS5s and Series X and Series S's on the market, I still think Sony would be struggling because of the moves that they didn't make last gen.
Now the thing is, they definitely have the games to keep them going, and that's the big thing with PlayStation Studios now, I think. Yeah. That's why they hold them so close to heart, because they know, like, hey, as long as we have these games, we can end up making the right moves, and I hope they do in the long haul.
Yeah.
Always kept me on PlayStation is the games. Like Dax was saying, a ton of solo play, because I'm not the greatest at like online games, MMOs, anything like that. And so when I started getting into gaming, a lot of it was me trying to find games that I could enjoy that weren't completely linear and weren't like just straight up shooters or anything like that. And so PlayStation had a lot of them, and so I ended up having a lot of PlayStation systems.
I will also say Sony's known is their bread and butter is single player RPGs or single player like story driven like adventure games. Yeah, for sure.
I'll admit with PlayStation, I feel like PlayStation had all the categories. Not only did they have the first person, they had the fighting games, some of the greatest fighting games on there. They have the best platformers. You know, they have the best RPGs. I can't say today because it seems like a lot of the games are no longer proprietary. They're just kind of on all platforms. In my opinion, PC is considered all platforms, in my opinion. So it finds it 10 times more difficult for me to say what system do I want to get this on, and when I could just get it on my PC with it sitting over there cracked up looking dead.
Well, that's the thing now too. Is like if you can afford a PC, it's the way to go.
I agree.
Console wars is starting to thin out more and more because PC is just kind of like the best option.
Yeah, and it lasts a long time. You can repair parts you need to. Like,
I'm glad. I'm just glad the gap is being closed. Like it's getting like it's making the
and
overall
crossplay becoming normal too. Like they've normalized crossplay.
Crossplay is the standard, and I'm glad that Sony's coming around to that. You can clearly see sometimes they're like, "No, we're not gonna do it," but then they end up doing it anyway.
I think Sony will see a major hit. I think that's what their main concern is because once you can get the things that Sony's only known for, like say for instance, Santa Monica, right? The creators of God of War was like, we're just gonna go on all platforms. You're gonna see a major decline in Sony sales because of the fact that like you can get it other places.
They had took a big hit already in their last financial call in like last year when they put out their plan. We talked about this last year. Their plan was to start putting PlayStation Studio games on PC because they were missing out on so much money by not having their games go to other platforms. So they were like, you know what, we're gonna start putting them on PC, and you're seeing that. You're seeing it with God of War, and then now Spider-Man. Spider-Man's coming out. Like that game's like, come on, it's kind of old.
The game was almost game of the year. Yeah, the game was the game of the year for
we're
sure.
We're getting a Spider-Man every year at this point, even if it's the same one. So I think they know what they're doing.
I think Sony's going to end up doing the whole like. I think their contracts for these developers are going to be, you bring it to our platform, we'll pay you extra, and then you can put it on for a year, and then after a year, you can put it on everything else.
Here's my reason why, and I know this isn't the discussion, but here's why I don't think console gaming is going to go away.
I don't think it's going to go away for what it's worth. I don't think that either. But
because yes, PCs are great, man. You could do everything with your PC. However, with a console, some people are really just okay with just having their phone or their tablet or whatever laptop. They're okay with having that kind of setup, and they don't want to have a tower or have even a more high-priced laptop or a gaming PC. Some people just want to be able to have their console, and it's just this compact system that does multimedia. I think Xbox was trying to do that ahead of time with the Xbox One, have it just be a media player in general. And I think that hurt them a little bit because they weren't so focused on the games. But now they really changed up their strategy, and you see it coming along now. So that's why I think console games aren't going away anytime.
They'll never go away. It's the convenience factor. Like, there's nothing wrong with like, hey, let me pick up this controller, turn it on, and my game's ready to go. Like, it's not that simple with. I mean, it is that simple with a PC, but it's not. You know what I mean? Let me turn my PC on. Let me load into Steam or whatever launcher. If you were your console, it's already there. You know what you're going to your console to do. So,
Well, now, like for Xbox, I can play on my phone. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, it's
they're
true.
making it easier and easier and easier and easier in all these
Shoot,
facets to
you
like
could play on your
the
Steam
go.
Deck.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
yeah, that too. Yeah. So I agree with you. I don't think consoles are ever going to go away. I think that Sony specifically is going to take a hit once these companies start realizing that they have more money to be made from them going to other locations. That's why I think that like Sony will offer more for like their Sony companies like Naughty Dog and Santa Monica and all those. I think, but I think they really will be like, I want to only be in a contract for a year. I only want the new God of War Ragnarok to be on Sony for a year, and then I want to put it on Steam.
Oh,
So
yeah,
I
for
think we'll
sure.
start seeing a lot more of that.
I think we're already seeing it. I think it's already
Yeah.
been in the talks of like, which has me curious about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and the third one, because they didn't say whether like it was PlayStation exclusive. How is it working? Like, is it gonna be on PlayStation for a year and then come to PC? Like, how are they doing it? I'm pretty sure that's what Sony's doing. They're like, hey, Rebirth is gonna come out on PS5 first for a year, and then come out to PC. The same thing with the third one, which sucks, but I'm willing to wait.
Yeah, for sure. I'm probably still gonna get it for PlayStation. Like, I want to play it, but at the end of the day, like when God of War, I played it the day it came out, and it was one of the games that I actually sat down and played all the way through and beat it and everything like that. And when it came to PC, I played it again. It was gorgeous. It was beautiful.
Beautiful.
I see consoles going away as soon as people stop. We don't use televisions anymore. Once that happens, then we might see consoles go away.
That would suck.
Then we'll have hollow decks. Yeah, Star Trek.
Sign me up.
I mean, that would be dope. Your whole living room just be a sit on the couch.
Center is just a sphere.
That would be dope. Super dope. All right, last news story. So Overwatch League, South Korean Overwatch League broadcast apparently omits Pride Day festivities. This came out June 10th by Cecilia Anastasio. If you tuned in,
that was actually her name, but good job.
It was close.
It was an excellent try.
It sounded legit. If you tuned into Overwatch League's Friday games, you probably saw dozens of esports fans decked out in rainbow garb or flashing LGBTQ themed signs as soon as the camera turned their way. It was Pride Day for the Overwatch League, a day that Overwatch publisher Blizzard put on for fans to come together for diversity and inclusion. They said in their announcement, but Korean fans who tuned in saw something a little different. A business as usual Overwatch League broadcast with no pomp or circumstance. According to two Overwatch League insiders with knowledge of the broadcast leading up to last year's Pride event, American and Korean Overwatch League broadcast professionals discussed how the celebration would come off to audiences in Asia. For cultural reasons, said a source, Blizzard's Korean team and regional broadcast partners made the decision to minimally broadcast expressions of Pride Day at Blizzard Arena last year. It's possible these reasons are related to South Korea's conservatism on LGBTQ rights. According to a 2017 Gallup poll, nearly 60% of the country is against same-sex marriage, which is not legal there. In the U.S., only about 33% of people disapprove. This year's Korean and American broadcasts were different as well, with the American one celebrating Pride and the Korean one strangely, well, not. Fan signs were prominent, and according to two people who knew Korean, there was little or no mention of Pride Day on the Korean broadcast. Korea's Pride Day broadcast did not appear significantly different from normal, but the hype and expressive Pride Day celebrations in Blizzard Arena do seem to be played down, something two sources say was at last year intentional. Blizzard did not respond to Kotaku's request for comment. Whew. Yeah.
So I'm not new to the knowledge that the world, or not all of the world, is ready or understands or even is willing to acknowledge the LGBTQ community. My family is of West Indian descent, Jamaican and from Trinidad, and something I know is that it is not. I mean, it's making progress, but it's still not where. It's still a lot of work that needs to be done.
Yeah.
And learning more about South Korea in this, it's just a reminder. And I'm curious as to what would need to happen for progress to show.
Honestly, it's the same across the board where people have to know people and understand that what they're being told about, this specific group of people, that there are things that are not being that are not true that are being said about them, and that's what's clouding your judgment about them. And so, like, a lot of people will go, oh, you know, with the whole groomer thing going on with trans people, and it's just like, if you know any trans person, you know daggone well they're not a molester. That's the last thing they are.
I really
Like,
hate that. Like,
this, like,
mindset,
statistically,
by the way.
just based on population, there may be, with how small of the population of trans people there could be like 3, like, at most. But when you talk about the Catholic Church and what they do to kids, and the Christian churches in America and what they do to kids, no one wants to talk about that. But they're gonna call us groomers, and because they assume they don't know any, because again, statistically, you've met at least 2 probably in your life, and you just don't know it because they didn't feel safe telling you. you know And
Yeah.
I
so
actually do know too. I
exactly.
know too.
Statistically, you've stumbled across a few. So
No, probably more, but yeah, I definitely know 2 that like came out to me.
yeah.
Specifically.
And it's just
I-
like, if you don't know anyone in the community, if you don't know anyone in the community and you're not like talking to them, or you're just only seeing one side of the conversation, you're not really going to understand the other side. And so for a lot of the world, they just never see the other side because, in places in South Korea where they edit them out. So you're not seeing these kids that are gamers, being proud of who they are and also being gamers. You just don't see them. And so whoever
Right.
tells you about whatever that is, then that's what you're going to believe. And so your mind isn't really going to be changed because you're not going to think about it. You're just going to be like, oh, gay people are this. Okay, yeah. I've never met one. I don't know. I don't see them. So, yeah, okay. That makes sense.
why would the internet lie to me kind of situation?
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Basically.
What?
And so,
So I'll say, oh, sorry.
no, I was just going to say, it's just, that's kind of the point of pride in general when you talk about Black pride and Latino pride and things like that. And because it's just like, look at us, we're here, we're normal people. Look, hey, here we are, we're right here, normal people. And that's basically what it is. You just want to be seen so that people can understand we're not whatever you think we are. Look at us here.
That's wild because on the what BTG was just shared with us, they said that the media didn't even mention it. They barely mentioned it at all, and that there in itself is where, like, if you're not informed, that could hurt you as well. You know what I mean? That could hurt the people because they're the information that they get is swapped around. You know?
Yeah.
Especially for that pride uprising that's happening too. They'll never see it. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's just erased from, no, we're not going to show it. And if we don't show it, we can say they're this, and there you go.
So I brought up this news article because the numbers that they said only 33% of U.S. people disapproved of the pride, and then in Korea it's 60%, and that had me wondering, like, for you, growing up, have you, like, to transition into pretty much this segment with you, have you noticed any changes throughout, like, you know, from you being younger to older? Have you noticed a difference in how you're accepted and how the world accepts you, how they view you? Have you
Well,
seen progress?
Yeah, and it's one of those things where, and I'm not speaking for all gay people or all trans people or anything like that. It's just knowing how we speak on it when we talk about, coming out and things like that. It always comes from a place of isolation where you're sitting here having these thoughts, having these feelings, and you're just trying to figure out where you fall in your little boxes that everybody puts everybody in. You're trying to figure out where you fall, why you're this way, why you're this way, and you can't find the language to explain it until someone tells you. And so, a lot of people don't realize, and I say realize instead of find out who they are. They realize who they are because they know that they're different, and they understand that what other people are saying doesn't make sense to them. But it's not until you start getting older, you start talking to different people from different walks of life. I had 4 or 5 friends come out to me before I realized, oh wow, I might not be fully straight as a girl. Because it was just like nothing I'd ever thought of until someone went, hey, so I have these feelings and I wanted to tell somebody I trust. Like, and
I've
you have no way to explain that. And so it always comes from a place of isolation because you're like, how do I explain this to someone? And then on occasion, you'll say to your mom, I want to marry that girl over there. And she'll be like, girls don't marry girls, and slap your fingers and we don't talk about it again. Like,
Talk
that'll
about
be the
that.
end of it right there. And so it's like learning the language and learning what it means to feel what you feel. So yeah, it always comes from a place of isolation, and then you find your community. And as you get older, as we go through this time, where I remember when they kept talking about Don't Ask, Don't Tell, and I remember when they repealed it. It was right after I graduated high school, and that felt like a big step forward. And I remember them start talking about gay marriage, and that felt like a big step forward. And so we were making all these steps forward, where people were realizing again the thing, oh, I know someone who's gay. And they're a decent person, so they can't be just terrible. And so you have all these people who are just like, oh, my cousin, oh, my sister, oh, my best friend, oh, my such and such. And so it does feel like a stronger community. It starts to feel more accepting. But then, and this is the influx of social media,
Yeah,
where you have, people becoming more open and more loving and more accepting. But then you have, what is now that, roughly 33% of people who are against it.
oh yeah.
And they're suddenly that much louder because they can just go across and spam every single gay person they see, like, oh, you're terrible, you're garbage. And so it's really hard to feel quite as accepted when you have someone like that, but you also have to realize that's 33%. That means there's at least 60% of people who are like, no, you're fine. Yeah, I don't care.
also,
You're
also
great.
I feel like it also is important to mention too, like hate always yells louder.
Always
Or
louder.
you can always hear hate louder. It doesn't always show louder, but uh, I think that you like that's something that is kind of the downside is because
Yeah.
you can get like 100 really nice comments, but you're gonna get that one person is like, oh, gay people are the worst. I knew someone who was this person, or whatever, and that one's gonna stick with you way more.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It
Um,
clings to you.
but I also will say, like for me, with the whole like not know like finding your community and you and all these things, for me, I'm somebody who loves to dive into somebody's culture. I'm somebody who enjoys really diving into somebody's like thought process as it is. And so I've talked about it before. Like I was raised in a very conservative, 99% white. Like we had one gay guy, one black guy, nothing other than that. And I didn't really get to experience, or I didn't really get to like, I was told what black people are. I was told what gay people were. I was told what trans people are. And then and then I went off to college. And I'm like, oh no, there's some really bad black people. Oh, there's some really nice black people. There's some really nice gay people. There's some really crazy gay people, And at least for me, like I'm able to separate a person based on them specifically and not so much their belief systems or their sexuality or their skin tone or whatever it may be. But I think a lot of people are terrified to really dive in because they don't know what to expect, and that really ruins the potential, because at the end of the day, like you said, you have these people who can really only support somebody because they know somebody that's related in that sense. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I have a trans friend, I have black friends, I have gay friends, and so I can separate in my mind. Yano's an awesome dude, but I also know another black dude who's kind of not the greatest person. So, I'm
Yeah.
able to separate those, and that's really important.
Like, it's that ability to be able to be like, you haven't done anything wrong, and so you're probably a good person. But a lot of people can't do that, because to admit that somebody under this umbrella could be a good person because they haven't done any wrong doesn't make sense, because all their life, or according to this book, or according to what my granddad told me, they have to be bad. And so my granddad's not wrong, my book's not wrong, my religion's not wrong. This person must be bad even though they've never actually done anything wrong. So we have to make something up
Yeah, why would your
to
dad
make them
lie to
wrong.
you? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, you got to be able to not see it as I'm right and you're wrong. You have to be able to see it as, let's learn from each other. Let
Right.
me talk to you, talk to me. Like,
Exactly.
let's just
Conversation.
talk. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's where a lot of the problem comes from, because like you had mentioned earlier, we don't have but people in general don't have the ability to sit down with someone that they hear things about but don't actually, have their own personal experience off of that. So I think it would be really dope to just have a moment where we can all just link up and go to, like, I know not everyone drinks, but go to a bar, just sit down and just talk to the person next to you. That's it. That's
Yeah.
simple.
I genuinely think that's what the nice thing about music is. Like, people go to concerts and stuff, and like there's just millions of different walks of life, and music's one of those things that really can just bring people together, way more than anything else.
Oh, yeah.
But I also know, like, people, like, I live in a small town, and I know people from experience who's like, these people are bad. And I'm like, you've never left your 4x4 area. How do you know? Leave your area, go to a bigger city, go meet one, and change your mind. And if you
I
can
told
like, like, if you literally can do that and then prove and then have that conversation and still come back to me and say the things that you said, about these minority groups or people or whatever, then I'll get off your back. But they had no interest of doing that. They want to be
Yeah.
ignorant. They want to stay in their like bubble, and it's
It's
unfortunate.
it's so safe. Like, I had a guy at my job. He asked about his ID because I think his daughter had just gotten her driver's license or whatever, and she has a real ID. And he was asking about it a little bit. He was like, "I know this isn't like your forte or whatever, but I just have a question. Like, can you track, like, what restrictions do they have on real IDs and this, that, and the third?" And one of my coworkers overheard, and he was like, "For the most part, it's just if you go fly." And I've told Dax, like, the ish where I live, where it's just really very rural, very red area, very conservative. And this man goes, "Oh, I'm not gonna fly in the next 2 years," and he just left. And we were like,
Yeah.
you're just never gonna travel, like, anywhere, never." And like, what, sir?
Some people don't leave there. Some people just have their little comfort bubble
You
and they
want to
don't
go
leave that.
anywhere?
People strive on comfortability,
Yeah, I was
and
like, just the slightest little experience, just one, nothing.
well, that's the pros and cons of social media, right? Like, social media can be such a good way to like meet new people. Like, I would never meet you guys, right? And that's great. However, you can kind of get the information, and the downside is you can kind of prove your side right, no matter what it is, because you can find us a stat to be around about what you want to like provide.
Agree with what your thought process is.
Right. And
Yeah.
so like even how great that is, like you still have like people who will be in their own little bubble together, like a little clique on the internet where it's just like, we hate these people. Why? We don't know. But
Yeah.
they do.
Are you ready for the hot seat?
Heck yeah.
Oh, I thought the hot seat was.
So whenever y'all ready, ask your questions away.
Also, Chad, if you have any questions and he is willing to answer them, then we'll.
And please
throw
be
that in,
respectful, because I will be.
Absolutely.
Be respectful. So
We're all mods.
like to-
we can all ban.
I'd like to
Oh,
go
Lord.
first, if possible.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I had the pleasure of meeting you a couple years ago.
Years ago.
But I couldn't remember the experience because most likely I was intoxicated.
A couple of fun nights. It was hilarious.
It was wonderful. So my question is that do you feel as though, because we have this space, Team Nike is a space where I believe everyone can come together and be able to work together, to be able to learn more and to grow, right? Do you believe, or do you feel as though your experiences, your personal life experiences, like for example, you sharing with us, you figuring out or learning that, okay, based off of these people coming to you and coming out and talking to you, you learned what the element was that you were looking for, or that okay, which box am I putting myself into? I can't seem to find this box. There we go. Now, how can you? It's so hard. It's difficult to word it, but how would you? What advice would you give yourself so that you could, I guess, skip the challenging parts and be able to get to where you are now?
Well, to be honest, there's no way to get around it. Better. It's really hard because in order to grow and feel comfortable about yourself, a lot of the times it centers on you also having a nice, healthy community around you. And so you have to be you have to get good at you have to learn how to find good people, and that in itself, no matter who you are, that can either be really easy or really very hard, because some people can pretend to be good for a while, some people are just terrible and you don't know anything else for a good long time. Like, a lot of people talk about going to therapy and realizing how much their parents hurt them, and it's just one of those things where it's just like, well, I couldn't get away from it because I had no idea. And so, like I said, when I was young, and it lingered on to today, and it still lingers on, to be honest, but when I was young, I had a lot of struggles. I now know that I have ADHD, and that can lead to a lot of anxiety and depression because of so many mental things. But
Me too.
but when I was young, it was so hard to pull myself out of a funk that somewhere around my teenagehood, when I was like 13 or 14, I remember making the decision that no matter what, I didn't want anyone to feel like I felt. And so I would just always try to be non-judgmental and just be good to people, just, for fun, just to feel good myself. Cause that was one thing I knew did make me feel good. I didn't always feel good, but making other people makes me feel good. Making other people happy makes me feel good. So I'm going to do that. And that helped me learn how to find good people, because that was an early lesson that was hilarious to me. A lot of people take offense when you're kind for no reason. And those people are people to stay away from. Because you're being nice to somebody, and the next thing you know, they're snapping at you for no reason. You're like, "Whoa, are you okay?" I just did this nice thing, and you're treating me like I'm trying to like clip your knee or something. I don't know what's going on. And so that helped me a lot in finding a good community, and that actually led to, like I said, like 5 people came out to me before I realized who I was. And more people have come out to me since then, where it's just like, you're the first person I told, you're a kind person, you're a nice person. I just needed to get this off my chest. And I like that, and so I continue to do so. And so I accidentally built this community of kind people around me, and that's include y'all. There's a reason, me and Lily clicked so quick. Where she was
Same
like,
Lily.
come hang
Are we
out with
talking
my
about the same
friends.
Lily?
Yeah,
That damn
yeah.
Lily.
Yeah.
Just making sure.
Where she was just like, come hang out with me and my people because I like you. and and so, you gotta find your space, find your community. That's the most important, because again, pointing to that super loud 33%, they will do their best to make you feel as isolated and terrible as possible. And the best way to defeat that is to remember that there's 60% of the people who are just like, no, you're cool. So come on, hang out with us. We don't need to worry about them. And they will keep you a little bit more sane. And so, finding that community is just important. Finding a good group of people. And it could be multiple groups of people. Oh, when I talk to my coworkers, I'm like, there's my gamer friends, my family friends, my other friends. there's my
Yeah.
there's my anime friends.
Right.
You gotta have your groups of people.
MTG. MTG.
Uh-huh.
So my question, because only reason why I asked this, because this is it's funny, because my sister, she's lesbian, and the question is, how did you know it was the right time for you to come out? Because with my sister, it was the most random thing. Like, we're literally just chilling, and like, she's just like, "Hey, come in my room real quick." I'm like, "I'm getting dressed. I'm about to go. What's up? What's up?" Come in the room. She's like, "I like girls." Now, I already knew this. Like, I'd known it for years. So when she said it, I was like, "So, what are you?" And she was like, "You're not surprised?" I was like, "No, I'm not surprised. You steal my clothes." Like, I I kind of had a I kind of knew already. And
There
she
was
was
an
like, "Oh,
inkling.
yeah." She's like, "You're not mad?" I was like, "No, why would I be mad? Like you're my sister. I love you. Like it doesn't matter to me. It's never mattered." But
Yeah.
I don't know how she decided that was the right time. It was just so random. How did you decide it was the right time for you to come out?
And so a running thread with a lot of coming out stories is, I planned it at this time, and then 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 at this time, and you just consistently chicken out, because it is the scariest thing. That question, you're not mad. That question right there, when it comes to somebody you love, man, she love you. She was just like, I
Yeah.
don't want to alienate anybody who's close to me right now, because that's my tribe, And so
Well,
there's
because
never a
again,
right time.
I was gonna say
And
because
a lot of the times it ends up just being, oh, look at that band-aid. Rip. Look,
I,
get rid of it.
that's kind of how it probably felt, because
Yeah.
my parents are really against it, like, for so
Yeah.
long, even after, like,
Really?
yeah, like, me and her pretty much kept it secret, like, forever, until like eventually she moved out, and she's like, "I don't care anymore." She
Yeah,
was like, "I'm gonna
basically.
tell him." Like,
that's
I was like, "All
that's how
And
right."
my
that happens
trans
a lot
friend,
too.
that's how my trans friend was. She only told her sister and me, and then like we were taking her to uh therapy. I don't know if she was doing like hormonal treatments then or just straight up therapy, but she told her mom like months and months later,
Yeah.
and then her mom was like, "I don't get it, but good for you." You know what I mean? It wasn't like a hate thing. It was just like, I don't understand why, but go for it.
He's like, yeah, do you?
But
But
I get what you mean though, because like you're already feeling isolated, and then if you isolate the people that you consider that love you, then who do you really have, right? So I
yeah.
get that. That makes sense.
And that's terrible. That's why a lot of people do come out to their friends first, or their siblings, the people where they know. Well, you're stuck with me now, so like they can kick me out, but no matter what, we got to keep coming to the school. So you're stuck with me here.
Yeah. Also, like, I feel like there's a lot of communities who are always afraid to just disappoint their parents.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like that's probably a big disappointer for a lot of parents. But yeah.
I mean, because even when it's not like one of my aunts is the studliest stud to ever stud while studying. And so
Good for studying her. Good for studying her.
Just and it was always like just a thing, my aunt she liked women, she was gay. And
Right.
so I grew up knowing her, and I'm a quiet kid and she's very loud. And so I'd be like, Aunt Tasha, give her a hug, and then I just go in the basement. But she was always there in my life. And my mom and dad, that's my dad's sister. My mom is practically the family because my grandma loves her to the end of the earth and back. And so that was basically her sister too. And it was just kind of like, okay, yeah, there's my
Did
aunt.
you feel like it was easier for you then to come out since
No.
you had such a no? Okay.
No. Again, it's just that thing where it's just like I have to tell my mom something, and it's scary. That's my mama. My mama's the
Dude,
scariest.
I was scared to ask my mom if I could go outside.
Right. Can I spend the night at my friend's house? You just prepare to get
a dissertation and explain why I could go to the movies. Like,
So, I guess my question is, because I've always been curious about it. So, did you always know, or was there an inkling for you to be? Because you said you started out gay, correct? And then you were like, oh, well, maybe I'm in the wrong body too.
Oh, that's way later.
Right. Did you always feel that way, or is it something that like? Because the way my friend explained it is, she has always had that feeling. She always had that feeling of like, I don't feel right. I feel better in feminine clothes. I feel better, wearing makeup or whatever. And she did it in her closet for a long time. She was in the military and she would do it in her barracks by herself. And then, afterwards, she was just back to her normal male version of herself now, So, for you, what was that transition like? Like young hetero to young adult to like middle adult to like grown man.
So I remember distinctly when I was roughly, I had to have been 7 or 8 because I think my cousins were like 9 or 10. I had to have been 7 or 8, where city kids are weird, man. Little ghetto city kids from Baltimore, they're weird. So we had
crazy too.
Gotten some chips, the back when they were a quarter, get a bag of chips. And we were all eating our bag of chips. We having a great time. And I hung out with mostly boys in general because I was the first granddaughter. And so we got these bag of chips, we're eating a bag of chips, and you get down to the crumbs at the bottom. You start licking the flavor off, right? So for some reason, we start licking the bags, we break them open, get into the season or whatever.
Y'all hungry.
And my older cousin goes, No, you can't lick it. You're a girl. You have to suck on it. I was like, oh my God. What? What?
Sound advice.
I've never heard that before, but now I know.
So,
Kids are so
of course,
funny,
because they're boys and they're all hitting puberty, they start talking about girls. I'm just sitting there so quietly. And at one point, one of my older cousins, he was maybe 11 or 12, and he goes, you don't get it because you like boys. And I remember thinking, no, I don't. Like, I'm sitting here with a group of They're all gross. So why would I like them?
That's fair.
And-
We are the worst. Yeah.
yeah. So I just remember thinking, I don't like boys, I like girls. And I had to have been 7 or 8 or something like that. And so when it came to teenagehood or just puberty, I wasn't even a teenager yet. I was like maybe 12, and I was still kind of the new kid in the area. I had just moved to PG County from Baltimore City. And there was another transfer, and I'm always mad about it because it was like those cheesy little kid movies where the girl walks in the room and everything goes all like my blur going on right now, and I can see her. And it was just like sunlight beaming in, and I was like,
He had that cartoon face with the big wild eyes.
oh yeah. And like I loved that girl. That was my first crush. It was magical.
Oh. Did y'all ever talk?
Of course, I did my best, and it never worked. I tried. Hi.
You gotta flex on them. That's what you gotta do.
I did my best. You know, I was just a wee baby of 12. But I remember one of my friends, one who later actually came out to me as the first person she came out to. One of my friends was like, "Do you like her?" And I was like, "No."
Girls are also gross.
Everyone's disgusting. And that was like kind of the summer of my big awakening. Like I turned 13. I went home for the summertime and I'm watching TV shows, and I had a celebrity crush on Amy Lee, and I was like, oh no, I might like girls. But what does that mean? Mind you, I have a whole gay aunt. I was just like, what does liking girls mean? What is this? And so, you know, of course, I go into teenagehood. My friends start coming out to me. I start having gay friends. And, you know, as a teenager, I have my first, I know she's so cute now.
Wait, who is it?
Amy Lee from Evanescence.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Had a
Mine
major
was
crush
the
on her
Pink
back in the day.
Ranger, for what it's worth. So,
Yeah, I
I
definitely
think
did
for the
love
Pink
the Yellow
Ranger.
Ranger quite a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, Pink
Mhm.
Ranger was.
Yellow was my favorite color for a reason. But
Pink is now mine for a for never mind.
Several reasons.
Several. But you know, into teenagehood, you know, I have my first girlfriend at 16, who was one of my best friends. And then I ended up coming out to my mom, and we didn't talk about it for like 4 years.
We don't bring that up. We don't
We
bring
just
that
don't
up.
talk about it. Just don't talk about it. And
Did you ever have any male relationships or male crushes or anything? Or
No.
was it none?
no, like I definitely, I can't even say like dudes are great friends. Dudes are great bros. Like, and that's about it. And like I
was just curious.
and I always laugh. I always laugh because it's just like when I be like, "Oh, that dude's hot," and someone's like, "But you're gay." I'm like, I'm also allergic to nuts, so I can say a Snickers looks delicious. I still don't want it.
That is a hell of a
Hey.
metaphor. Like that.
I'm
Welcome-
allergic to
that was
nuts.
That was a double entendre. Good job.
Right. It's one of my favorite things to say when people say that.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, he's hot. Okay.
I think that's
Eye candy's
so
eye
weird,
candy.
because like for me, like I'm pretty good in my like sexuality. Like I have no interest in dating guys or whatever, but I'm pretty okay with being like, Bradley Cooper's pretty hot, you know. Like
Yeah.
I have no problem being like, that guy's attractive. I don't care. Like I'm still not gonna like. I have no interest. You know?
Some people are just dreamy, okay?
Some people are just so afraid to like. I feel like everybody feels that way, and then they just are afraid to like express it because of how like people react to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Yano has luscious locks.
He
They're
does.
luscious. They're gorgeous.
I want him to strangle me with them locks. You know what I mean?
What's the dude in Jurassic Park and The Fly? I forget. Jeff Goldblum. I
Oh
find
yeah,
him to be an attractive male.
he
Very true.
is attractive.
I
He's
disagree,
weird,
but that's
but he's
okay.
attractive.
What?
No, he's not my type. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
Did your
I mean,
did your aunt already know?
no. At least I don't think so. The thing is, I came out to my
Genuinely-
mom.
I'm
I
genuinely
always have
curious, though.
I have my core group. I come out to my mother, my father, my grandmother, and then it's either one or both my aunts, depending on the situation, because they will fight me if I don't tell them. No, my mom's sisters, my dad has the gay sister, but my mom's two sisters get very offended if I do not auntie privilege them into any info. Like, no matter what it is, they
Sounds
get
about
auntie
right.
privilege like offense. So, depending on the situation, I'll tell one or both of them. But
It's 'cause
after I
you're
tell
getting that
them,
drum
I
in.
don't really worry about anybody else. And I have a huge family. So I always know if I tell my mom, I have to tell my aunt because my mom's going to call my aunt. My mom is also going to call my dad. So I have to tell my dad. My mom is going to tell my grandma, but I also don't want to hurt my grandma's feelings. So I have to tell her specifically because she's my grandma.
If one of my if my mom knows, my grandma knows, and then everybody knows because my
Yeah,
grandma.
basically. And so those are my core five. And then usually by then the rest of the family will know the next day. So
Gossip girls is what they are.
like right. And so
Going back though, do you think anybody knew? Like, do you think
oh
it was a
yeah.
surprise? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Like I was definitely very much a tomboy. And I know for sure the types of fights I had with my mom over clothes and hair would have clued in anybody. Where it's just like, can I cut off my hair? Why would you want to cut off your hair? It's so gorgeous. Blah, 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 blah. Can I get these shirts? It
You
looks
would
like a boy's
die.
shirt. Blah, 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 blah.
People would die to have your curls. Everyone
Right.
would die to have your curls.
Your hair is so long and so pretty.
I do have a
want
question.
relaxer.
Let me see. I didn't orchestrate it properly in my head, but essentially the question is that for example, there's some people that are currently married to someone that they are not necessarily they married them because they believe that's supposed to be how they're supposed to be. You're supposed to be with this person because they're the opposite sex, or because they feel as though they want to make their family proud, or not make their family upset. But then, like, how would you what advice would you give to someone who is currently with someone that is did I get disconnected? Hello?
No, you're fine.
Okay, we're good. Okay. What advice would you give to someone that is essentially with someone because they just believe that they want to they don't want to shake the tree too much, but at the same time they're unhappy?
It always comes down to try to be you. It's something I've thought about a lot, especially when I was younger, when it was really scary to come out and things like that. Because it's one of those situations where you're not going to be able to give yourself fully to another person if you are holding back such a huge chunk of yourself. And yeah, I've thought about this a lot. So, like, a lot of people think that, especially a lot of strongly religious people think that if you just find a good person and you settle down with them, eventually you'll be happy. And to me, that is the most unfair thing you could ask anybody to do. Because you're basically telling somebody to fake it with a good person. And so you have this good person who's not getting 100% of their partner. And then if it goes to the point of having children, then you have kids who are not getting 100% of their parents because neither one of their parents are happy. You can pretend to be happy, you can look like you're happy, you can do all the Christmas cards and things like that, but you're not going to be happy. And it's really hard to say, just live your truth and work through it from there. But that's kind of what you have to do, simply because of how unfair it is to both people and possibly their kids and their families, to be honest, because that unhappiness is toxic. It hurts everybody involved. Like, there's so many people who talk about how, and it's not even like their mom was like gay or anything like that. It was just like our parents weren't happy together, and that trickled down in small ways to our childhood, and it changed our childhood in ways that changed us, you know. And again, that harkens back to people, going to therapy and realizing how much their parents actually kind of hurt their psyche a little bit. And so, like, specific situations require specific solutions, but all in all, a lot of the times it just comes down to just being able to live your truth. And it, for a lot of people, it hurts. For a lot of people, they lose homes, they lose entire families, they lose a lot of things. But living your truth a lot of the times is the best solution to it. Because, yeah, the alternative is just multiple lifetimes of misery. There's yours, there's your partners, and then there's your kids, and then potentially their kids if they don't really work through whatever issues they have built from that. Yeah.
They'll
Like,
keep
that stuff
going
trickles down.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a cycle of, it's mild, but it's a cycle of trauma, basically. Yeah.
I do have one more question. I don't want to take up all your time, but my last
Easy,
question.
some of us want
I
to talk.
know
All day.
it's good and it's good conversation. Daggone it, now I forgot the question. The question is, Wendy. No, not Wendy. What's the lady's name? Oh, BTG. What's the singer we were talking about?
Oh, Macy Gray.
Macy Gray.
I
Had,
never actually looked up what she said.
oh, you didn't. Oh, essentially, she said that people a a person can't a man cannot, no matter what they do, cannot become a woman. That, I think that's what she said. And she said, before I say this, it's going to make a lot of people upset. And then she just said, no matter what, a man cannot become a woman. And I don't know what made her, was if someone asked her a question or she was responding to something, but I'm curious as to, coming from the trans community, how do you have any thought, because you're just now learning about this,
I can
basically?
give you the
Yeah.
exact quote if you want.
I just went and looked
Oh,
it
you
up because
see.
I remember seeing something about it, but I was like, I do not have the capacity
So-
for this right now. So,
So the quote directly is, I will say this and everyone's going to hate me, but as a woman, just because you go to change your parts doesn't make you a woman. Sorry, I know that for a fact, the singer says. Like, if you want to call me, you want me to call you a her, I will, because that's what you want, but that doesn't make you a woman just because I call you a her.
yeah. And yeah, it was an interview. But yeah, it's just that, and it's a weird combination of things where people consistently, they have this idea in their head that trans women are just dudes trying to gain access to women's spaces and not people living an experience they just don't understand. And it comes back down to that, this is what I've been told, I don't want to be wrong, and whoever told me is not wrong, so you must be wrong, right? And so they just keep it in the back of their heads that no matter how much they outreach, this is always gonna harken back to, this is a man trying to be in a woman's space. Like, that's just what it boils down to for them, and it's just not what it is. And like, every time you hear this argument, it's always the same argument, and then you have a ton of people going, no, that's not it, and they go, no, I feel like I'm right. And it's just, you're just not taking in what we're telling you here. And a lot of people who say things like that will also conveniently, like, forget that trans men exist. Where it's just like, okay, so on the other side, do you think that trans men are just secretly ladies trying to gain access to men's spaces. Is that what you think on the other side of this? Because no one ever talks about that at all. Because when you put it that way, it doesn't make sense. And
It
so when you
doesn't
put
even
it the
move
other
up.
way, it doesn't make sense.
I feel
Like
like
it's
by,
basically almost a mirror image.
by her saying
So I
that, she
think,
kind of showed her age. Like she's a whole
well, I
other
would say
generation.
she showed her age. I think that part of it comes from, so I'm gonna say it from an aspect of something that I was personally offended by. So there was a thing where they wanted to change the whole thing as far as breastfeeding. It's literally everybody has breasts, whether you're a man or a woman.
Yeah, you have the
But
tissue.
and it's like they wanted to say, call it like it was something weird. And it's just like, I understand you guys have your rights and you want your rights, and that is fine. Like, I love everybody for who they are, but let's not negate the feelings of all of us that are comfortable in how we were born. Like, it's nothing wrong for, trans men, trans women. All of us share the same space. All of us, have our beliefs, our feelings. That is fine, but let's not tear down each other trying to make the other one comfortable. Let's all kind of come to a place where we can all understand each other and not offend the other one. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah.
And so I think that maybe she was trying to say something like that, but it just didn't come off in the proper wording that she could have used.
So what I've noticed from the outside looking in, because obviously I'm not a part of the community, but I try to as best I can to be an ally for that community. I will say that I know a lot of people who try to go above and beyond to make it as ridiculous as possible. In that sense, you know what I mean? Like, in my mind, there are a whole bunch of people who just don't feel comfortable in their body, and so they want to change that so they can feel comfortable in their body or in their sexuality or whatever it may be. But there are also people who try to take that a step too far and just go to far extremes because they just like to watch the world burn. Sometimes it feels like, you know what I mean? Like, I know that my friend is an extremist in the transgender community. And what I mean by that is that because I'm a white male, I'm the enemy. And I've had conversations many, many times, but at the end of the day, all she'll see me as is the enemy. Doesn't matter what I do or anything like that. And I feel like a lot of times, I don't know if it's the media or if it's like actual straight white men or whoever it may be, just coming in pretending to be trans and then just making it worse or whatever. But I feel like a lot of times, a lot of people don't even want any of these things. They don't care about that. If they had transgendered bathrooms, I think they would be fine. If they got to use the women's bathroom instead of the men's, I think they'd be fine. I don't think they're trying to nitpick. I don't think they're trying to like get special rights by just trying to be who they are. And it's portrayed like that a lot, I feel like. But
And so I've noticed what happens a lot. And like Doc said, it's always a small bit of the community where they'll say something. I think was it about the you said it was about breastfeeding. Was it the chest feeding thing?
It was some weird term, and I was just like, we all got breasts. It don't matter whether you a male or female. It's still gonna be called breast. Men get freaking breast cancer.
Yeah. And so
like, that makes no sense. It was just some weird term, and I was just like,
yeah,
like I get it, but come on,
chest
guys.
feeding.
Like,
Yeah, it's called chest feeding.
yeah.
That
And
was-
so
I'm not
it's
a
one
huge
of those
fan.
things. It's a
I'm
weird
not
one.
a huge fan of
But,
the non-binary. like I for one am personally not okay with like the my child is non-binary. That's not for me to say. That's not for
Yeah.
anybody except for my child to say once they're old enough to make that decision for themselves. But
Yeah.
until then, she's gonna be a girl and she's gonna do what she wants. She's gonna wear her style. She's gonna be who she wants. She's gonna date whoever she wants. But if at one point in time she goes, I really feel like I'm a male, then we'll have that conversation and sit down and have a logical conversation.
Yeah.
And but at no point like am I going to call my child a non-binary. Like I
And
think that's
so
the extreme that I have the problem with, but like it's far and few between.
it's like I always think it's like, from what I've seen, it's always been like this tiny, because the trans community is already really tiny, and so I feel like it's always a super tiny portion of it where they're just like, let's try and make this thing more inclusive by calling it this, and then the magic of social media, and then then somebody in the actual media gets a hold of it, and then there's an outrage blown all the way up for somebody going, hey, why don't we call it this? And it's like, I feel like if you like date it all the way back as much as you can, like if you actually track it, it's always going to be somebody like maybe like somewhere between like 15 and maybe 30, where they're just like, I'm going to try and, make this more inclusive, and they're trying to do that, and then the next thing you know, it's blown all the way out of proportion and a bunch of people are mad about it.
Do you think it's out of a place of like love, or do you think it's meant to like fuel the fire?
Honestly, it depends on the person it's coming from. And so with something like chest feeding, I feel like that came out of a probably okay place. Simply because it's literally just like, well, some dudes breastfeed, but they don't have breasts. Oh, they're chests. Yeah, that works. Because what was I thinking about? There was something else where it was like really weird and it blew up in the wrong direction. Oh, when
what was
when
it? The birthing people thing?
No, but that's a different conversation. So, what I was thinking about was when I think it was like a year or two ago, when Always took the feminine symbol off of their packaging because there are trans men who bleed, and so the company, no one else, the company was like, hey, why don't we just remove this one symbol from it? They didn't change.
I remember that. People lost their mind.
They didn't change anything else. So, the feminine symbol, the little circle with the plus on the bottom. Yeah. And so they took it off of their packaging. Yeah, the company was just like, oh, let's just make it more inclusive. Let's just remove this one thing. They didn't change anything else.
They didn't even make a big deal about it either. They didn't even like.
They were just like, oh, we took this off of
removed
here
it without saying a word. They didn't.
But who is studying their boxes like that?
Right. And so I remember.
I'm trying to think like how many products have gone to the store and bought. Like I noticed, like when the color
visually changed one.
You change one. You could change a word on the packaging, and I probably wouldn't notice as long as the brand still stays the same thing.
It blew up on the level of like Starbucks Christmas coffee cups level. Like it was out of nowhere.
I kid you not. It literally became a thing where like John from Oklahoma was like, you're taking God out of Depends. You're taking
Like,
God out of women's products. It's like, please shut up.
It was just like it was the weirdest explosion of news I had ever seen, because Always said we're going to take the feminine symbol off the box. They did that. And then all of a sudden the news story talked about how trans women were leading the cause and forcing companies to change their logos, when the company changed the logo for trans men because trans men, some of them still get periods. So they were like, let's just be more inclusive toward the men who get periods from time to time. And they blew up at the completely wrong group of people.
Like, why not complain that they should actually just be free in general?
Right. And it was just like, they removed a symbol off a box to be slightly more inclusive. Like, this is no big change at all. I didn't even know they were on there. Like, someone would probably had to be like, okay, it's here. And I'd be like, oh, look, there it is. Like, I wouldn't have known. And they made that one change to be more inclusive. And they blew up at the completely wrong group of people. It's like, it wasn't even the target of the change. What happened? And so that was the most
upset too.
Yeah, and that was like the most egregious, like that was the most like radical, like the one side where you're like, oh, this is what's happening, where some small group will do something or say something, and then it gets blown completely out of proportion in that really magical social media way it happens. And so a lot of the times I feel like that's what's happening when it comes to people changing the names, or like when they say And like I said, this was a different conversation, but when they say like birthers or stuff like that, it's just like we tried to say just pregnant people and everybody got mad, and so somebody said, well, how about birthers? And they were like, no, and so that was even worse. So no.
So I can understand why people were mad at the birthing people thing. And I think that when you're a woman who's had a hard time with getting pregnant, you want to be acknowledged as a mother, not just a birthing person. You know, because when you bring a kid into the world, you become this parent and you want your role that you've worked so hard. I mean, like for me, I didn't even think I was going to get pregnant. I didn't think I was going to survive even birthing my child. So for me, it was just, I want to be a mom. Like, I am the mom. So I think it's kind of, you know, some people may have felt like that ownership, that possession of that name was kind of stripped from them, which me personally, I can understand just because of my whole journey with pregnancy.
Yeah.
As
And
far as other people go, I can't speak on them, but that's just my
like I was about to say, I could definitely see it being a personal thing, but
I personally
like
have never birthed a child, but I will say that for me at least, I feel like the people that are close to you that matter are gonna call you
yeah.
relatively what you want to be called, which is a mother, right? So like if Joe from Oklahoma again is like you're a birther, like it doesn't matter as much as if your mom calls you, the mother of your child. So I that's how I see it.
And that's what I was about to say. Like it's for things like that where they were trying to be like, okay, pregnant people, people who menstruate and things like that. It wasn't a personal thing where they'd just be like, oh, let's call every single person this. It was always more of like when we do like a thing where we're going to be reaching thousands and hundreds of thousands of people and millions of people, let's just say this to include everyone instead of, we're going to go and talk to this. We're going to go to this like mommy group and call them all birthers, you birthing people. Like, yeah, they weren't like going to go like, oh, we're going to go to your hometown and go into your kid's class. And no, it was just like in general, when we're talking about gigantic groups of people, huge groups where so many different types of people are going to be involved. How about we just call it this one thing? And like I said, I think it started with just pregnant people. And then when people just got more and more mad, other people were like, how about these other names? And a lot of them were kind of sketchy.
So all that reminded me of my other question. So with Pride Month just happening in June, all the businesses and everything put up pride, rainbows, and everything all over the place. Do you feel like that is a marketing tactic for them to gain more income or profit? Or do you think these
100%.
companies truly believe? I guess that's your answer.
So it's one of those things where when it comes to businesses, don't trust anything they do is 100% good. There's a lot of people now who are saying it, but I remember only a handful of people saying it back in the day where I say back in the day, it was like 10 years ago. But like when I first started, volunteering for Pride and stuff, where, you would listen to people, talk about the Pride Parade and how corporate it is and things like that, where one thing you realize is that a lot of the times millionaires and billionaires don't get that way completely clean. Like there's always something underhanded, there's always something dirty, and it's built into the business that way. Every business is the same way. Never 100% trust a business because it's succeeding for a reason, and a lot of the times it's not a good reason. Most of the time it's not a good reason. I would say 98% of the time. And so when it comes to corporate businesses and their Pride Month like marketing and all that, it's nice. It's like, oh, thanks. I can go buy this rainbow thing now for like $5, but I'd rather go spend it on this small business from an actual queer person for $5 and get it that way because I know you're just doing it for my dollar bills. That's all you want. You want my dollar bills. You don't want nothing else.
For what it's worth, the Pride Month Oreos were fire this year.
They were probably delicious, yes.
that packaging was fire.
I guess to piggyback off
Oreos taste different?
PTC's question,
they taste a little extra gay.
Do you feel as though it has no relationship to knowing who your allies are within the corporate world.
No, because your allies in the corporate world are probably going to be working with you if you're working in the corporate world. A lot of the times, like, people work their way up, or they'll be in a business and they'll come out or something like that, and they will have to fight for representation within that company. They always do. Like, there is never a company that's just benevolent toward the gay people or any minority in their company. Like, everything you get within a company, you have to fight for. That's just what it is. Like, that's no ifs, ands, or buts. We had to convince them that kids are not reliable workers, so kids can be kids. A business will very happily use slaves if they can. Like, there's no. You gotta work for what you get in a company, and so a lot of the times when it comes to that, if you listen, it's really hard to put your ear to the ground with this kind of thing because they do get shut down quite a bit. Where if you actually look for stories of people working to build the community within a business, a lot of the times they are not consulted when it comes to that business putting out the pride gear. Like, I know somebody
Yep.
who works at Target, where Target has their whole pride aisle. They have pride everything. Like, it is a rainbow explosion in June in Target, but
Target
they
making
had to
their
put
money.
together their own they had to put together their own walking thing. Target didn't sponsor a float or anything like that. When they wanted to walk in the parade, they had to put it together themselves. As the workers who work there, with all the rainbow gear and stuff they give you as a worker there, they still had to put their own thing together. Like, that's most of the companies, to be honest. And the only difference is the ones who sponsor it, you'll see them put together a quick little float where it's all fancy and nice and pretty, and it's like, look at us, we're inclusive. But they're not really like, usually they are not really like working with the people within their company, and so
Also,
your allies are the ones you're working with, but it's not the company.
also, I'd say, like, if you're actually inclusive, you would see higher ups that are part of that community too. Like, you don't
Yeah.
see that very often. It's
Yeah.
like if you're at Target and you're a gay person, you're probably working like cash register. You're not like like a higher up manager. You know what I mean?
Like, you'll be assistant manager.
Yeah.
Like, and
Or,
you're
like,
not going to be making that hop, skip, and a jump into corporate.
right.
Yeah.
That's what I would like
Why
to
do
see.
you want to do field research and go to Target and be like, I need to see your manager right now. What's the problem? I need to see your manager right now. And then they come out and they're like, hey, would you like to go out and go right? I want to get to know you. I want to know more about it. Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk.
Hold on, Susie, there's somebody wanting you.
You hear it
I
on the
think
PA system.
we'll take two more questions and then we'll close out the show.
Oh, man,
Can I ask my question?
Of
You
course.
can.
Are you okay with us asking where you are in your transition?
Yeah, it's no
Ooh.
problem at all.
Yeah, I'm excited for this one.
So can you talk us through a little bit? I know two people who are in their transition process, so I just kind of want to know about yours.
Okay, so I know I talk about coming out as gay and stuff when I was very young, but as far as my transition, I didn't even realize. I can't even say I didn't realize anything was amiss. I didn't put 2 and 7 together until literally about 2 or 3 years ago. 2 years? I was 31. I'm 33 now. 2 years ago. And it took.
Wait, so you recently found out that
Yeah.
you were.
I've
Okay.
recently kind of just, put it all together in my head and realized what was happening. So, of course, throughout my childhood, I felt just a little different, a little weird, a little odd kid, Everyone does in some way, probably. But as far as my gender goes, when it came to figuring that out, I spent so much of my time as an adult trying to create space for other people. And so when I would be depressed, I would go volunteer somewhere because it made me feel good. And so, I volunteered at a lot of conventions, a lot of I volunteered at Katsucon for 7 years or something like that. I volunteered at Otakon once. It was too big. No, it's too much. I volunteered for 2 years at AwesomeCon, and then around the same time I started volunteering for Katsucon, I actually started volunteering for Capital Pride in DC. And so, I spent so much of my time doing my best to help create a positive space for people who just like different things, anime, video games, and being gay, so, and so I would have a hand in creating that space, but I didn't know how to, utilize that space for myself. And so going into the pandemic, of course, everybody got to sit at home and just go, I guess I'm just thinking now. So when I'm, sitting at home, at this time we weren't married yet. We weren't even engaged yet, actually, my wife and I. So she would tell me all the time, once we started getting serious and we would talk and things like that, she would tell me all the time, she's like, you're not being open with me. You're not being honest with me. You're not doing this, you're not doing that. Where it would just constantly thing that would come up for us was just me not being my whole self. And so, I had to figure out what that was. I feel like I'm being open with you, but I also realized that, I've spent so much of my life being about other people that I never actually took time to figure out my own self. And I just constantly have realizations now where after, realizing that I was having kind of gender issues with my body and how I thought and how I saw myself, and realizing that I just kind of realized all these funny little things from back when, I don't know if you guys know what a binder is, but it basically holds everything together, puts it all nice and flat. I've had one for 7 or 8 years now.
Oh,
where
you meant
I went and bought
binder.
one. Oh, yeah, I got my little notebook here. And I write all the
Dad.
things in it.
Dad.
No,
Of course I know what a binder is.
It holds the bits down, okay?
My bad.
Well,
Go ahead.
hold on.
Dax is like, how did this binder get into this conversation? I'm confused.
Holy.
I bought one 7 years ago, and I've been wearing it for a long time, to the point where it was broken in and comfortable and everything, where it was just oh, I am not comfortable with this, slap this on, go on and do something else for somebody else, because I'm not going to think about this anymore. And it was
Does
just
that
be
hurt?
little stuff like that. No, as long as you get the right size, you're all good. I'm hot right now because it's a hot material, but it is comfortable if you get the right size. But
sorry,
it would just be a bunch of little stuff like that. A bunch of little stuff like that. Purchases I've made, things I've read, things just coming together to the point where I came out to my wife and I was just like, "Baby, I might have to transition. Are you okay with that?" And she was like, "Oh yeah, it makes sense."
Oh yeah, I knew.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. That is awesome.
Well, about
Or,
time.
I tell my best friend and she goes, "I mean, okay, but yeah." Yeah. It's just one of those things yeah, duh. No duh, actually. And so as of right now, I did all my realizations. I talked to a therapist and stuff, and I actually started my hormone treatments in February. And so that's 4 or 5 months in. And I have all my little changes I wanted when I was a teenager. Because, you get told you're going through puberty, you go to health class, and they're just like, "Oh, dudes are going to get hairier." And I was like, "Ooh, yeah." And they're like, "Oh, you're going to grow a mustache." And I was like, "Ooh, yeah." And then they were like, "Girls are going to get boobs." And I was like, "Oh, no, I don't want."
Right here. This is it.
Yeah. That's it. That's all. I have the same amount, I think, right here now.
Is it a weird feeling?
No, it feels
No?
great.
Natural?
Yeah. Other than my extra oily face because it's puberty again. other than that,
I'm so
you
glad I
know,
never had oily skin. I've
oh
always
my
had
God, I am a
normal.
grease factory. I don't know what's happening. I got a sheen going on. I'm glad there's no light directly on me right now. I'd be
Witch
blinding you
hazel
all.
will save your life.
I
Witch
have witch
hazel.
hazel, and then I went to the dermatologist, and she was just like, "Oh, you're an HRT. Okay, so here's the acne medication because I got all the bumps again." But it just feels like really great because like I said, it's just all the changes I wanted when I was a kid, and they told you what puberty was and what you were gonna go through. I was like, I want my voice to get deeper. I want a mustache. I want hair everywhere.
I feel like it's not the same, but I remember wanting braces and glasses, so I kind of get it.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? But I
yeah.
don't. Yeah.
Did get my glasses though. I
Yeah.
mean, I didn't like I wanted them, but I wasn't like one of those kids who was like, I wish I wore glasses. I was just like, oh, I want glasses. And then I told my mom I couldn't see the board one day and she thought I was lying. And so we went to the doctor. The doctor was like, oh no, you need them.
So for me, it's weird because like I'm a guy of science, and I know this is like segueing off or whatever, but I just wanted to bring it up because like for me, right, I want to experience what you feel right now. You know what I mean? Like that feeling of being like I'm a female, but I don't feel like a female, right?
Yeah.
Because for me, I've never had that experience. I've never been like, I wonder what it feels like to be a woman.
Yeah.
You know
And
what I mean? Like
see,
as a normal male, straight, cis guy or whatever, like I've never had that emotion or that want or that need, and
yeah.
it's really hard to like understand on like on a molecular level because you have. So it's something that I really want to experience just to have the knowledge.
Yeah. And
'Cause,
see,
you know what I mean?
that's that thing where it's really hard for people to understand it and therefore they mark it as bad. Simply
Yeah.
because,
Or
it is
weird or
a
strange.
really weird thing to think and feel and know that is it's incorrect. It feels like, it just feels wrong,
There's actually been scientific discovery that there's like a brain like a brain malfunction
Yeah.
at like birth where the brain is like no, what are we
Yeah.
doing, why are we like
There's
this?
like,
And it's not just
cause
like I have a feeling, it's literally a brain makeup that you can't
yeah,
do.
That
and it's
sounds
just something you
terrifying.
can't. It does sound really scary when you put it that way. But it is also something terrifying to live through because you also
Right.
have that moment where you're just like, is this a real thing? Like, is this a thing I'm feeling? Right? Is this a thing? Like,
Yeah.
because, like I said, I've been in the community in a way since 2010, 2011, something like that. Very long time where, I have met, trans people a million times over. And of course, I've been around gay people a million times over. And so I always say for me, the thing that flipped the switch in my head to make me go, oh, wait, that's me, was the idea of gender euphoria. And so I know everyone probably knows gender dysphoria, where, you don't feel like the gender you were assigned at birth. But gender euphoria is almost the opposite of that, where it's just like, I'm doing this thing that aligns with what I feel like it should be, and this feels great. And
Good.
so all throughout my life, whenever somebody would call me sir, I would get this little bloop, little heartbeat like,
Oh,
oh, exciting. Yes, good, perfect. You saw me. And I didn't realize that was gender euphoria because it would just be like, oh, hey, what's up, man? And I'm like, what's up, man? Like, I put on the deep voice and everything. What's going on, bro? Like, I didn't realize what that was until I knew, like, until like someone like explained in depth what gender euphoria was, and I was like, oh, okay,
so
all
do
right,
you
I get that.
so do you plan on doing like voice what's that surgery or whatever? I think it's easier for women going to male though, right? Because it's easier to get a deeper
Yeah,
voice and then get a higher
yeah.
pitch tone.
Yeah.
So do you plan on getting that surgery done, or is it just going to
Um,
naturally do it, or are you just happy with where you're at?
as far as being happy with where I'm at, I know it's gonna change some more. Cause like I said, I'm only like 5 months in. As far as actual like biological science goes, puberty takes many years. And so
Oh yeah, I was there. It sucks.
I'm at least gonna be where I am as far as just keeping up with the hormone treatment and then just letting the changes happen. I'm planning on doing it for at least about 4, maybe 5 years, just to see where everything goes from there before I do anything extra. And that's just me with my medical thing. Not like I'm medically sick or anything. I'm just nervous when it comes to medical procedures. And
sure.
so I'm just like extra cautious on that end where I'm just
Well,
like,
that's as
I'm
long
just
as you're
gonna
happy
see
with
what my
yourself,
body
right?
does. Yeah. I'm gonna see
Yeah.
what my body does and then we'll go from there. But as far as like surgeries and stuff, beyond I know for sure I do want to get top surgery. I never wanted boobalus. I never wanted them. I'm
I
sure
like
my partners in
boobalus,
the past have like enjoyed them, but I have not.
but I like the boobalus. No.
Oh,
All right.
well, that's what
I
you're
like
talking about.
other boobalus. I don't like these boobalus.
You know,
Last
with the
question.
binder, you know.
Yeah. Hold them down.
Who's got the last
Not to be
question?
seen.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
the
Yeah,
last
that's not
one.
mine.
I'll make it quick.
Okay.
My question was, how did you get into how did you know plants were you wanted to learn how to just grow and just and like you have to be patient. You have to be so patient when it comes to gardening, planting, botany, all of that. It requires patience. How did you know that was something you wanted to get into? And
It was
and let
like
alone
not
streaming.
quick.
And
That's
so okay, I'll make it real quick. Okay. So as per the introvert who does not want to go anywhere ever, no matter what. And so, growing plants and stuff, it's really good to know how to grow your own food, like just in general, like just a basic knowledge to have. And so I wanted to give it a go because I was like, what if my wife and I just buy a house out here in the boonies with a bunch of land and I just grow my own food and never have to go to the grocery store except to get like chicken. Like,
You can grow them
what
too.
if I do that? You
Go
can
ahead
grow
and
some
start
chickens
your
too.
farm too.
Yeah, I don't have the heart. Okay, I don't want to kill my pet chickens. I'll eat their
Just don't
eggs.
name
I
them.
won't kill
Just
the
don't name
chickens.
them.
Can't you raise them and then take them to a butcher?
You can do that, yes, but it will hurt my heart because I would love them.
That would be a hard car drive.
Yeah,
It would be sad.
guys. I'm so sorry.
Homegrown chickens taste the best.
Of
No
course
doubt.
they do, but
Be
also,
so
Poor little
sad.
They're my
dude, he got his
children.
head chopped off today.
Oh
It
no.
was a sad
Yeah.
day.
It's Sunday.
Speaking of which,
time
that's
for
what
Sunday dinner.
that's actually what Gordon Ramsay did. He bought turkeys and then his
Oh
kids raised
no.
them and then his kids killed them.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Really?
The
Yeah.
circle of life.
Yeah, that's what he was
Just
teaching
like
him.
when it comes to like, because I do like to build stuff, and I know that I could probably figure out how to fix stuff around the house and things like that. Like I built an entire bookshelf that I'm looking at, but I was just like, I'm gonna try it and grow something, and that patience that was a test too because I was just like, maybe I could take on a hobby that challenges my ADHD,
Ooh.
where I cannot focus on it 100% because you can overlove your plants, but also I do have to remember to keep them on a schedule and things like that. And so that was a good like test for my ADHD to just try and do something that forces me to take something at a normal pace.
Mm.
You know,
Nice.
got to water them on schedule, but not overwater them, not fiddle with them or anything like that. And so I was like, it's fun. And then also I remembered that peppers are a plant, and so I could grow them. And I love
And
peppers.
he just wanted to show off his
So,
immaculate hands because every time I get
of
Mhm.
course, of course.
so every
There we
time
go. Let's see
every
if
time
it will let me. It won't. No.
Oh,
every time he comes into the channel, I do like the clips thing or whatever, so it shows the clip. And it's just his hands, and I'm just like, they're so beautiful. They're just so nice.
I try to keep them very moisturized. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, Hetero, thank you for that, for answering all our questions. Really,
Yeah, I really appreciate you
Yeah,
being
definitely.
here. Thank
Thank you for being here.
No problem.
for sure. So with
I
that,
enjoy spending time with you guys.
Yay!
well, hopefully we have you back soon. So what I'm gonna go ahead and go over the last games that released the past couple of weeks, and then we'll go ahead and do outros. All right.
Okay.
All right. So, Fall Guys, free on every platform now. That came out.
We need to do that, by the way.
We do.
Yeah.
Sonic Origins came
Oh,
out on
Lord.
PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X, Switch, and PC. Naraka Blade Point came out on Xbox. It's on Game Pass. Disney Mirrorverse came out on iOS. Deliver Us to the Moon on PS5. Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes came out on Switch as a Switch exclusive. Capcom Fighting Collection came out on PS4, Xbox One, PC, and Switch. Tour de France 2022 came out on all platforms. Portal Companion Collection supposed to come out on Switch. MX versus ATV Legends came out on PS5 and Xbox. DNF Duel PS5 and PC and PS4. Disgaea 6 Complete on PS5 and PC. Rabbids Party of Legends PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak DLC came out on PC and Switch. Cuphead The Delicious Last Course came out on PS4, Xbox One, PC, and Nintendo Switch. And F1 2022 PS5, Xbox Series X, PC, PS4, and Xbox One. Oh, that's it.
Do you see Breath of the Wild 2 up there?
Yeah, no. I wish. With that,
Starfield up there? Do you see Starfield?
definitely not. Definitely not. With that, thank you guys for joining us for the show. Hope you guys enjoyed this special Pride Month episode.
Late, but never late.
Yeah, late, but
A
never
little
late.
late.
It's Pride Month somewhere.
Yeah, it's
It is.
Pride Month. Pride never ends. So,
Right.
with that, where can we find you, Hetero Overload?
Well, I spend a ton of time on Twitter. Hetero Overload at Twitter. I stream on Twitch sometimes. So I definitely want to get back on it. I've had a lot going on. It was too much for a minute there. But I will be on Twitch, Hetero Overload. And yeah, that's about the two places. I probably should expand a little bit.
Dax, where can we find you?
Hey guys, Professor Dexter. You can find me at Professor_Dexter on Twitch or Professor Dexter, all one word on Twitter, which you'll see all the links in the Twitter for Instagram, Hover, TikTok, Discord, YouTube, and I think that's it.
Where can we find you?
You can find me at Yanonick at twitter.com or NK_Yanonick Twitter, and then you can find me at Twitch at Yanonick YANONICK.
Rainbow, where can we
You
find
had
you?
it, and then you dropped it, and then you had it again. Good job.
Thank you.
At least he finished.
Yeah. It was a roller coaster.
I think Rainbow died.
I didn't die.
So where can we find you, Rainbow?
God. You can find me on Twitter at X_Rainbowkisses. And of course, you can find me in the Night Kids Discord, where I won't be dead, I promise.
She's
Yo,
the
she
most
got
alive
so
there. I
upset.
promise you. And you can
She
find
got-
me, BTG Plays, at Black and Tie Guy Plays on Twitch, on Twitter, NK_BTG Plays, and Instagram, Black and Tie Guy Plays. If you guys enjoyed the show, please make sure you follow on all streaming services, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, Spotify. Leave us a rating, leave us a comment, and you can also on Anchor leave voice messages to us that we can review and hopefully read on air. I know Yano left me one the other day and I saw it and I was like, oh, that's cool. But yeah, thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you guys next Tuesday, same time, same place, same channel.
Let's go.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Later.